Hi, it's Kim Glazier with the Kim Connects Home Team, and one of the things that we're passionate about is connecting with people in the community and really being an advocate for different groups of people. And with 4th of July coming up, we thought it'd be really good to talk to a serviceman that I respect deeply, and it's my good friend, John Williams. Thank you for being here, John.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
First of all, I just would like you to tell us which branch of service you served in and where you were.
I was United States Navy. I was Vietnam 69-70, what they call Brown Water Navy. The North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong were moving troops across the rivers to infiltrate the South further. So the Navy put the gunboats in there, what were called river patrol boats, to patrol the rivers to cut off the supply lines and troop movements and things like that. So that's
How
what I
long
did.
were you there?
How long was I there?
Yeah.
I was there a year.
A year.
I went in at 20, came back at 21. Came back 2 weeks after my 21st birthday.
Oh,
the average
my
age over there was probably 18 or 19.
Oh, wow.
Most guys went right in out of high school. They're older ones, of course, but the average probably was 18 or 19. Went to basic training in San Diego. To it was called Coronado Island, which is where they train the Navy SEALs and the underwater demolition people. So certain bases around the country that train people to go over for different things. So I was a gunner's mate, so the weapons training we did at Camp Pendleton by the Marines. So the Marines were training the Navy guys in how to use weapons and such. And then we went to training later on. After
So the Marine guys got to know the Navy guys pretty well then.
Oh yeah, we make fun of each other.
Yeah, I know. I never knew. Do you have anything clean that you can put on
No. But they're all good. All the branches are good. They all had different roles over there.
Right.
Just like they did in World War II in Korea.
When you see people, this is just, from that served in Vietnam, is there a kinship? Like, when you see them and you look them in the eye, is there a sense of community? Or?
Yeah, it's huge. The biggest issue we're all dealing with is what we talked about a little while ago. It's called survivor's guilt. But the biggest part of this is when we came back, the whole country was anti-war and warrior. That's the distinction we're trying to make between this. You can hate the war, but don't hate the warrior. Back then, they hated the warrior. Vietnam was the first war when you went home at the end of the day and turned your TV on. It was in your living room. A lot of the press was negative. We had this split in the country between pro-war and against the war, things like that. It ultimately became against the warriors.
Were you aware of that when you were over in Vietnam?
No, because we didn't see it. But it was coming back here to you guys.
God.
And then you're writing us letters saying, "What are you guys doing?" And I just heard about this, and I heard about that, and so you hear about it through different, through your family members and things like that.
So you didn't know until you came back over.
Yeah.
God.
I came back to San Francisco in uniform. So most of us were told in the airport, get out of your uniform. Because the protesters were lining up in the airports waiting to harass us, jump us, So you were told to get out of your uniform as soon as you hit the airport before you went out into the civilian population, which is really most of us still deeply remember. That's what we were saying to the young, for the benefit of the younger guys coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. You can be against the war and all that kind of stuff, but don't hate the warrior. Hate the war all you want, protest all you want. That's a good thing. But don't hate the men and women that are going. I wore designations, but I haven't started that until like 5 or 6 years ago. I didn't want to be recognized. So you're harboring that for 50 years. And people we see a lot of times don't wear anything at all, any kind of designation. They don't want the exposure. They don't want to be approached. They don't want to talk about it. Some of the rest of us are more in your face now, where we do. We're challenging somebody to say something.
Right.
And we want to be proud of what we did. And
Absolutely.
we're trying to change the behavior for the younger guys coming back.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why we're doing this, to make sure that they're not treated the same way we were.
Is there something that, because I know that when I am out in public, sometimes I'm at a loss of what to do. I don't want to hurt, I don't want
You're
to.
right. You don't know to approach them. Do I not approach them?
Right.
Are they going to appreciate me coming up? Are they going to be offended by it? I think the best rule of thumb is just be sincere with it. And you're a sincere person.
When you share stories like this, that's helpful for me, honestly.
The real superheroes are the World War II folks. That was a major, major sacrifice. Vietnam and Korea, our country wasn't at risk. So if we did or didn't go, it didn't affect your or my lives growing up as Americans, right? World War II did. It changed the face of the planet forever. Had we lost, we would be speaking German. But WW2 ultimately changed the face of the planet.
Yes, sure did.
Right?
Right. Well, I appreciate what you're doing now And it sounds like you're involved in several organizations that reach out and help people that are going through the process
Yep.
and
A lot of them
in
still
healing.
struggling. Still struggling.
And I really appreciate you taking the time. I think it'd be really neat to have further conversations
Anytime.
at a point, just to be able to share. And I, for one, I don't want to embarrass you, but I so respect you just as a person, and for the service of your country. And I appreciate you trusting me enough for us to have this conversation. So thank you for your service,
Gratitude.
John.
Thank you.